Hey guys, in this video I would like to share my process of making a game character in Zbrush. This is actually just the part 1 of the video, which is modeling, and the second part would be some skin texture techniques in Substance Painter, and I will upload the video very soon. Here, as you can see, I'm just using Move Tool and Clay Buildup Brush to block out the shape. At this stage, it's just about conceptualizing my idea or how I want my orc character to look like. And I try not to spend a lot of time, because the more time you spend on it, the more details you will add to it. And here I just use Dynamesh and add up a little bit of resolution. And then I won't re-Dynamesh it once you're happy with the shape, and then you can start using reference images for the details. I try to keep the resolution low by just turning on the Sculptures Pro, which is the S button on the top. I really like this feature because it's only add the resolution locally, so you don't have to worry about because sometimes when you working on a high resolution character, it's gonna slow down your computer a lot. But with these features on, like, you don't have to worry about that at all. So now I'm just quickly adding the eyeballs and the teeth, just to sort of help me to refine the details on the eyes and the mouth. Here I'm still just trying to find the shape instead of refining it. What I really want from this one is I try to build like a kind of angry character. So especially when you work on something like, especially when you try to design a monster looking character, usually you want to keep their eyes kind of small and their mouth big. Now I'm just using the deformer, which is the feature on Gizmo, just to block out the body part, the upper body. And then just use Move Tool and move things around. Once I'm done, and merge the head and the body as well, just to work that as a whole piece. I mean, for these muscles, you definitely want to find some reference images. When I'm building the details on the facial muscles and the muscles on the body, I always try to find some good reference images or the images that relate to the characters I'm making, because it's really necessary, especially when you try to build a realistic character. At this stage, I'm already happy with some of the details I got here. So instead of adding more stuff, I start to actually refine the details I already have. And once I've done the basic shape of the model, I just bring the high res to Maya and then do the retopology. I really like this Corel tool, and there are a lot of tutorials on YouTube that show you how it works. Also, when you do retopology on a character, it's always good to use some reference images as well, just to see how those animation ready character, how their edge flow goes through on their face and body, which actually sort of help you to understand how this muscle works as well. Even though for me, I don't have to do this for this character because it's just for illustration purpose rendering. It's not really for animation, but I mean personally it's just a good practice for me. It is a boring process, people hate doing it, but if you want to do a game ready character or animation ready, you have to go through this process, and it takes time. So once I'm done with that, I just bring the new model back to Zbrush and project all the details from the old model to my new model, and from here I just start adding more details. And I'm not using the Sculpture Pro anymore because I'm working with a Retopologized file. And another trick I use a lot is to turn the light into different directions, just so that I can actually see these details in a different lighting situation, which sort of helps to refine the details, because by default the light is facing directly in front. So some of the features that you can't actually see what they look like, only by turning the lights around, and then you will know how to fix them. So once I've done most of the details on the face, I just start working on the armor piece on the shoulder. First of all, I just use the deformer and to find the shape, the curve of this armor, and then just use Z-modeler adding details. I'm sorry if this is too quick for some of you guys, because I only want to show you the whole process of how I made this character instead of explaining every single details. But there are videos on my channel about how to use Z-modelers in depth, so you can check them out. This is just another details on the model, sorry, on the armor, and I'm gonna just turn that into a insert mesh brush, and then later I will add on top of it. So just turn on the curve mode, and yeah, bring that details on. Especially when I'm modeling a character, sometimes only for UV or Retopology, sometimes I can't be bothered to go back to Maya or 3ds Max, because these Gizmo features and ZModeler, they're actually really powerful for modeling, so which make things a lot faster. I mean, it's just me. Like, some people, they might prefer different workflow. You can switch between different softwares, but for me, I mean, it's all good. Just use ZModeler. Here I'm just bevel soften some of the sharp angles. Here I'm just using exactly the same technique, just to add some smaller details on the other piece of the armor. Basically just copy and paste. I think here I'm starting doing some jewelry parts on the face and the body. Again, I'm just using Z modeler. Okay, so this is the belt area on the chest. Here, just add some thickness on the belt and some extra details on the metal piece. And sometimes instead of using the move tool, you can use the deformer. You can use deformation, like the twist, inflate, to sort of scale up and down your model as well. That could be a time saver as well. And basically, after I done the modeling of these armor pieces, I just start adding the macro details, like those damage, those edge wear stuff. And I was actually being lazy on these ones because like I said, this one is only for rendering and illustration purpose. I would avoid most of the details on the back because I mean a lot of people are not going to see it. There's no need for me to spend those times on the things people don't see. So yeah, just use the masking techniques, just quickly block out some details, which later I can, add more in Substance Painter. Because you will end up just baking these height informations or normal informations on your low poly. And you can actually add some more while you in Substance Painter. And also I found some pretty cool metal surface details and use them as alpha and just project them on these little details on the armor piece. And I didn't record while I was working on the teeth, but it's the same technique as how I modeled the armor. And once I'd done that, I just went back to the face and then start working on some more macro details, like the wrinkles and some extra stuff around the lip, around the eyes as well. And also you can notice on the right hand, I'm working with the layers, just so that I don't destroy the basic shape of this character. If I don't like certain details, like the veins or some other stuff, I can just delete them or refine them without disturbing the original piece. And especially when let's say you want to change the facial expression of the character, you definitely want to work with these layers, unless you save them in separate files. But work with this layer feature is really handy. And here I just turn the light into different direction again, just so that I can see these details a bit better. And I think at this stage this character is really sort of coming to life already. Now I think it's a time just to add more details. I mean, the more details you add into it, the more realistic it will be. Here I'm adding a scar, and it's in a separate layer as well, just so that if I don't like it, I can change it or just remove it. And finally, once I'm happy with every details, I start to change the facial expression, just to make this guy a little bit more angry or grumpy. And again, definitely use layer features to record these instead of destroy your original model. I think this is about everything, guys. This model actually didn't take too long. I spent about 3 to 4 hours per night, and it took me about a week. And in the next video, I would like to show you the skin textures in Substance Painter. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.